When I decided to come here, I had just been accepted to this university in Rio for architecture. I was working in a surf shop in Rio just just to make some money in the meantime. That's when this friend of mine was here. He came in 94 and he called me at the end of 95 and says, "How would you like to come spend a vacation here?" I said, "Yeah." I had some money saved and I came to stay with his family, and I fell in love with the place. When I saw the ferry, I was like, "Oh wow, this is awesome." And the ferry stopped in Oak Bluffs, and I saw that the gazebo, the ocean park. I said, "Oh my God, this is great."
I came here to spend the summer. That was the adventure. Then I would go back to Brazil and keep going with my life. But I fell in love with the island as soon as I got here. This was in Oak Bluffs. Just remember those days. We lived in a house. You know where Smoking Bones is, across from Tony's? There's a house right next to it that Sergio had rented. It was a large enough house. It had like 3 or 4 bedrooms, and then upstairs they turned it into 2 more bedrooms, but it only had 1 bathroom. And there were 16 people living in that house, and I was one of those 16 people. And if you ask me today if I would ever do that again, I would say there is absolutely no way that I would do that. But I remember having so much fun in that house. We all worked like horses. We wouldn't see each other during the day because, someone would be off on their 2nd or 3rd job. Someone would, but then at 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, I don't know why, but we would all be getting home. And that's the time when we actually got to see the other 15 people that lived in the house. So we would just congregate in the kitchen and just tell stories and laugh and go to bed at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning and have to be up the next day at 6:30, 7 o'clock to go to our 2, 3 jobs again. So that was my first year. And then I went back to Brazil, but I knew I was going to come back. And I also knew that if I was going to do that, if I wanted to, let's call it extend this adventure, I would have to do it legally. So that's when I came back and I started dealing with papers and everything. And when we finally fit into a law, because the immigration laws are constantly changing. So when we finally fit in one of them, and I believe it was Bill Clinton that had signed this into law, that you could have a sponsor, you can have your boss sponsor you. And me and a friend of mine, Eddie, at the time we were working at Papa's Pizza in Oak Bluffs, which is not there anymore, on Circuit Ave. So we fit into that law, and we had a conversation with our boss, and he says, "Guys, whatever you need." So he signed all the papers, but I believe that was 2000. I think it was 2000, and the lawyer that we had hired for it, he had told us that the process would take between 2.5 years to 5 years. And, we're pondering, oh my God, can you imagine being here all this time and not being able to go home? What if it's 5 years? We can hope for 2.5, but what if it's 5? But we're like, well, if we want to do things right, we have to do it. So we did it. We started, we got the process going and all that. And then in 2001, 9/11 happens. So something that was supposed to take between 2.5 and 5 years took me almost 11 years to finally, get to the finish line. When I first came here, when I came in 96, that I spent those 7, 8 months, I think at the time I was a dishwasher at the Black Dog Tavern, and all dishwashers were Brazilian. But I think that's when I started my interactions with Americans, and I also worked at the Wesley Hotel, which is not Wesley Hotel anymore, in Oak Bluffs. People who I worked with at the Wesley were all Brazilians too, but obviously the supervisors, the bosses, they were Americans. So I started interacting and training my English, because until then, most of the English I spoke, or thought I spoke, was from music and movies. Because of my love for music, I started reading all the lyrics. I used to sit by my mom's turntable and put, Cat Stevens album or the Stones or whatever it was, and sitting there, and back then you could open and read the lyrics. So I'm singing along with it in my mind. I'm like, oh, so that's what that word sounds like. So that's why I say that most of my English, what made my English better, let's call it that then, it was music and movies. That's where I got it, from.
I think it gets harder every day for not only Brazilians but immigrants to succeed. Okay, take me for example. When I came here and I decided that I would like to stay and become legal, I wanted to open a bank account, and I opened my bank account with my passport. That's all I needed. Today, you need at least a social security number to open a bank account. A bank account. When I came here, you could still get your driver's license with a passport. Nowadays, they're asking for a green card for you to be able to get your driver's license.
There's a lot of good people here. Good, hard-working people that are part of this economy. They're part of what makes the vineyard. They're part of what make the engine go. They're gears. They're all pieces of this engine. And there's so much fear now, that they're gonna have to drop everything. And there are kids here. They were born here. That if something like that happens, they would have to go back. And yes, I understand, maybe they broke the law by overstaying their visas, or simply by coming here and deciding to stay, or by not fitting in any laws because trust me, every illegal person on this island wants to become legal and will do whatever it takes to become legal. And I'm speaking from experience, because nobody wants to walk around looking over their shoulders. They want to do the right thing. I spent a ton of money to become legal. If you ask me if I regret it, no, not at all. And 99% of the people on this island, the ones that are still illegal, they want to do the right thing. They want to fit into a law that they can become legal. But there's a lot of fear now. But I think the majority of people on this island, they're, people that are welcoming to other cultures and are interested in other cultures. I got a phone call from my lawyer 2011. It was actually the 4th of July weekend on the island. And I was at my sister's house. My sister's married to an American guy, and they have 2 kids. But I was in their back porch, and they were barbecuing, and my phone rings, and I look, and it's my lawyer. I'm like, why would he be calling me on, the 4th of July weekend? And I remember telling my brother-in-law, Frank, I said, man, this could either make my holiday or absolutely destroy it, because he would be calling me just to say, hey, by the way, you forgot to send me a file. No, he would wait for Monday. So that's when I answered the phone, and he said, welcome to the United States. So I literally got my green card on July 4th. We both got our independence together.